The views expressed in the UpInsideYuh Podcast are that of its presenters and do not reflect the views of its sponsors. The side effects may include laughter, love, black business promotion, constructive criticism, understanding, laughter, fun, withdrawal symptoms when we go on vacation, laughter, and scintillating conversation.
Good night, everybody, and welcome, welcome,
What
welcome.
going on? What going on?
It's Up
Good night,
Inside
folks.
You. It just dawned upon me this is episode 4 already.
Already?
You
Already?
imagine that?
Ciao,
We know,
boy.
we know how the
Thing just
vacation.
going on so hard.
All right,
Thank
then.
We
you,
just
it's
come
so
back from
scruffy.
vacation. We just come back
Episode
from vacation.
4. Up Inside You. Come in and get it up inside here.
Yeah, have a seat. Have a
Up
seat. Have a
inside
seat.
you. As we discuss what we were discussing today.
What
Yeah,
is we
there we go.
discussing, Janelle? What is we discussing?
We waiting for the people to come in and then they start to bombard us. We are discussing all about action or not. Action
Yeah,
versus
Versus
intention.
intention, man. Boom bang.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
You
to
know what it
remind
is,
us of our sponsors.
right?
Good night, everybody.
I feel Keita should do that though. Like Janelle, you can't
Oh
take
yeah,
over everything.
Keita.
Let Keita be the one to deal with the sponsors, man. Talk to the
You
people,
want,
them Keita,
you
man.
want me to deal with the sponsors?
Yes, sir. If
Yes.
you would be so kind.
Well, first of all, let me big up Alarosity right off the bat. Production.
Gee!
Yeah, that's a big Alarosity. Big up Sibel, large and in charge every single thing.
Yes.
Big up Trevor Tony's tires. Trevor Tony all the way for all your tire needs and
Son,
and
that man
problems.
saved me
Like
last week,
that.
you know.
You feel me?
Save your life, though.
Saved me last
Yeah,
week.
that was a good
Man
look.
saved me last week. They saved me last week for real. So big them up wherever them is right now.
Big up Trinidad Cuts, dude. Big up Trinidad Cuts. I gotta see that tomorrow, cause they're looking a little rough.
You're looking
Big up
a
Trinidad
little rough and scruffy.
Yeah, big up
Yeah,
Trinidad Cuts.
yeah. It's gonna be a little
week,
movie. It's gonna be a little movie called Up Inside. You're gonna be Up Inside Trader Cuts tomorrow.
for
Tomorrow.
sure.
We ain't telling you what time go
No.
cause we ain't signing the part. We ain't signing the no autographs or
No
anything.
autographs.
The place too hot.
Yeah.
The place too hot for that day.
Last but not least, big up Barely Sober Entertainment. Big up Barely Sober Entertainment.
Yeah.
Events
Can't
coming
wait
to you
for
very
this.
Wherever you
soon.
The
did.
action come in.
I can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't wait.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
It's true.
Thank you,
Right.
Keita.
But you know,
Thank you.
before we get into all of this here, so before we get into this, we got under something. It seems recently one of us were from to senior year head.
I just acting.
So I would like
It's
to
just-
say, I would like, hello, whether you're acting or you're serious, you get a promotion of your head. So we gotta give a nice little round of applause to our own Janelle. Big up on that movement.
Thank you,
That
thank
upward
you,
trajectory.
Billy.
Big up yourself.
Big
Thank
up
you.
now.
So don't let the work kill you. Cause I know most of the time in Barbados, when you get a promotion, it is me more work and still the same money.
Yes.
More-
Yeah, I do some
more
acting. I do some acting last year, and I ain't got a cent for it yet. But you know how it is. Well, our PB sing
So,
about that.
alright,
You
we can get the
ain't
update.
get paid, so
So
you
we
know
got
what it is.
You're gonna
we
start moving like 50
got
Cent.
we got any lawyers at up so yeah?
You're gonna start moving like 50 Cent.
We can go get some lawyers up in here, man.
I tell you, but you know you
How's
ain't
that?
dealing with the government. Speaking of the government, though, hey, tonight gonna be hot. Tonight is going to be hot, guys. We are looking
Yes,
at
nigga.
action versus
Oh,
intention.
I tell you what, I meant figuratively, because I know it will stay real hot.
That too.
Tonight is literally
No,
hot.
I live in the best parish. Let me not say that, but we just get a lot of rain. When everybody else dry and hot and miserable,
She
St.
gone
George is
with-
being under a cloud. I don't know, the cloud don't move neither. So I got some
Sure.
some rain tonight.
I'm really sure I can't get behind that whole conversation, but you live in the best parish, so let me just
You know how all
don't let me
this
get
is
into the whole parish war.
You just struggling all day. All the talk that you talking, you
Yeah,
just
but
struggling all
normally St.
day.
Andrew is never hot. All day. I am not
It
I
must
ain't
be
gonna
sick.
deny that fact, but usually St. Andrew is always one of the coolest parishes between St. Lucie, St. Andrew, and St. Joseph.
Where
or
you go,
even
you're
St.
trying to
John. Let me
prove
be
a
St.
point.
John something.
We all
But
know what's
yeah.
happening here, all right?
But anyhow,
But tonight
continue.
is
Talk the
all about
talking.
action versus intention. So, as you know, up inside here, this
That's some good
entire season
one.
is all about versus,
Versus, versus,
versus.
versus,
So, we
versus.
want to
Yeah,
hear
man.
from you what you want us to talk about. But at least for tonight, we are looking at action versus intention. So, as Chad would have said to us, they say that the road to hell
Yeah.
is paved with good
The
intention,
good intentions. Oh
intentions,
Mm.
but
Lord.
without the
Oh
action,
Lord.
what do we do? So, Keita and Chan, tell
Hmm.
me what y'all think, know what it's all about. Which is more
Well, you can give the
important?
red
Which
man
one is
the
above
go
the
ahead
other?
first.
Well,
Go on, red man.
thanks
Start
for th- thanks for
talking,
giving
man.
me thanks for giving me the red mind title. But here's the thing: intention versus actions. No, where to start? This is
Uh,
a touchy socket, a touchy subject because they go hand in hand. Um, you can't you can't think of a good way to start a conversation or start a relationship or start I guess appointment or anything with bad intention and expect it to turn out good. So I
Mm-hmm.
think
mhm.
in order to establish where we're going with this podcast tonight, we gotta look at what is the meaning of a good intention. Because a good intention is where it starts. Intention is where it all starts. That's the mindset, and that's where everything starts. So you tell me like what you think is a good intention. For me, a good intention is when you think of something or outcome of a situation that you consider
Mhm.
good. And that is your opinion, and that's your intention because that is how you feel about the situation. Not necessarily how somebody else might overlook it, but that's what your thought is of the situation. What do you think about good intentions, Josh?
Mm.
Or no, not good
Well,
intentions,
for
but
me,
intentions in general.
intentions itself, yeah, I just feel like intentions are something that it is beginning in your head, like you said. But then the action of this bring it out into the world, and then other people could judge your intention based off your actions. However, intention is something that still cannot be proved to this day, and is something that even mystifies the court, the law and order system. Because I could go and rob a bank, but they can't tell me my intention was to do this or that. This is how we came up, we plan, whatever. So intention is something that we still cannot physically and tangibly touch. So it's all within us. Because I had a brilliant conversation. You know, I always having conversations with people and they don't want to dry out. But the fact of the matter is that there is such a thing called loopholes. And most of the time, whenever an action comes out awry or whatever, you could always look for the loophole to say, oh, but that was not what I intended, And then somebody will have to more than likely, like, let me go down the line of a bad situation, and you get forgiven for that action, that poor action, or whatever the case may be, because your intent was supposed to be good, but you know that it wasn't really necessarily a good thing. But that's like all about perspective, which lends back to the whole exercising versus exercising. You know what? You never It's something you just can't prove. You just gotta go with it, and it's all about perspective. Because an intention could be bad, it could be good, or I could go forward with a bad intention, and something from my action makes
So,
it good. And then I
yeah.
got the reverse. I could got a real good intention. Like, for example, Janelle and I in a relationship. And I decide I want to go and buy Janelle something just because to show her my intention of like, oh, I was thinking about her. So I go on out there and I buy something and I give it to Janelle now. And Janelle look at it like if I just had she a bag of sheep shite. You understand? So,
Yeah.
my intention was good, but the receiving end of the action
Yeah, because
is
it's not
not
the perspective.
viewed as good.
100%.
Yeah, it's come down to
Yeah.
perspective in the end of it. So Janelle, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah,
Yeah?
well, for me, when we first came up with this topic, I was like, but I can't see this as a versus because
Mm,
one is needed for the other, and as you would have just said,
mm-hmm,
it goes back the same way because your intention and intention is some type of aim or plan. It's something that you perceive is going to happen. So you always hear she was full of good intentions, and in your case, you had a good intention and you wanted to buy me that lovely gift. that wasn't so lovely when I got it. But then with
Mm-hmm.
action now, it's actually now carrying out that aim. So it's achieving the aim or the plan. So you put a plan in place, which is your intention, and then
Yeah.
follow
Uh-huh.
through with that plan will be the action. So that's what I was saying about how can this be a process? But then and I realized, when as you just wait in, when you have an intention and however it may be received, when you actually put it into actionable steps, can make
Mm-hmm.
it be good versus bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I am interested. I'm interested in hearing how our followers think and what y'all think as well. How they're thinking and what
About
y'all think as well.
intentions.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows the people in the chat here about intentions. But at the same time,
Yeah, but we could keep it. Yeah, we could
intentions,
keep it moving.
intention, no, that's intention we speak about in detail, but no, what are the actions? Actions versus intentions. What is deemed as action to liaise with an intention? No, an
Mm-hmm.
action, I would say, is something that would back up the intention, where
Mm-hmm.
you can pretty much validate what you are doing towards a particular intention. So, for instance, if you are, say, you have a good intentions about losing weight, your action, let's say, is your intention is to lose
That's a
weight.
good
Your
point.
action will be to
That's a
like
good point.
exercise and eat
Yeah.
healthy and that sort. I think those are actions to actually, to do things to get to the point where you are accomplishing your intention, quote unquote, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, like what sometimes lines get blurred because sometimes things are done when you're doing when you have good intentions for someone else that you may perceive as a good intention that the other person might not necessarily see the same way. So it might be a situation where you're in a relationship. It might be in a situation where it might be a work related something where your action for you might think that you're doing the best and that your actions are warranted of what is required, but the other person from the other end is looking and saying,
Yeah.
this person doing this here with a bad heart or they're doing this here with bad intentions. I don't
Mm-hmm.
trust this person. And to be honest, like intent actions are like you exercising what you need to do to accomplish your intention. And it takes a lot because the hardest part of intention is actions. So you got to be like, all right, for instance, let me use a scenario like that. You got to be action, being physical to do something to that extent. So I don't know how you all feel about actions per se, but actions is go a long way.
Yeah,
But
I seen.
Carol,
I
based on what
seen.
was actually there saying, so she was saying, also was saying that the intentions just serve the doer though, like who's benefiting from the intention, and
Exactly.
then obviously the action now would be where it is definitely seen then who will be benefiting or how others will be impacted. But who
The
benefits
Empress,
from
that's it.
intentions too?
The Empress just hit on a key point. I was trying to remember just no discipline. That
Mm-hmm.
was what I was trying to get at. Where you talking about the
Right.
action? Like to me, the measure of you being good at actioning yourself to get to that intention is the discipline of your
Mm-hmm.
actions. Because we all know like some relationships don't work or some work situations don't work or because you might start out with good intentions and you start getting on the right lane because like the average person I don't feel bad for saying this. No, I think when it was in show that's not what I was saying, man. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but the average person that start a job, right? They start a job with the best of intentions. And this kind of work the first week or kind of work the second week, month, and so on. They'll be doing the best on what's not, and then they realize things might not necessarily be going the way. Instead of instead of being focused and disciplined of being a good employee, they're like, oh, geez, they're gonna worry now and then.
Right, hearing Peter.
Yeah,
Peter.
it was getting no. It's only a little. Talk again, Keita. Let me see if it can hear you now.
Sorry, walking the phone
We
line
ain't getting
minute.
you
That's
there.
what happened.
Yeah, the phone line playing the fool.
You walking the phone line?
Yeah, go and come back in and see if you get through. All right, so let me
Yeah,
continue
Chad.
moving. I guess know that Flo heard about the situation with me and they get solved. So I know the message with Keita say
Oh,
that
so
the
the
work.
message with Peter
But
too. Not to leave me well.
to go on to what that person was saying, what the body name Palawakan,
Oh,
I can't
yes,
see the
that is
comment anymore.
Alison
But
Murray.
basically, right, I don't feel as if I don't feel as if the intention just serves the doer. I believe that if I'm a father, if I'm a father,
Yo,
well, let
yo,
me see if
yo,
Keita could
yo.
hear. Yeah, Keita back in there.
One
You
thing,
want to
one
finish your
Yeah.
thing.
point? You want to finish your point before I get into what was saying?
No, we're just basically saying that discipline of actions, right,
Uh
is the
huh.
key to good intentions because people break their discipline. So I was just drawing a situation of people working in an institution and
Right.
going from being focused to reaching a goal within that organization or whatever as a good employee, going down a lane of being a bad employee
Mhm.
because your actions are not disciplined. So they might start getting distracted by things on the side, losing focus on certain things. Negativity come in your ear, and you listen to that negativity as opposed to being focused and disciplined on your
Focus.
main goal. That was
Mhm.
really my main point I was trying to make there in that
And
situation.
when you said job, somebody knows starting a job, right? You know what that started to make me think of? The people know who are already in positions for many years that don't necessarily do the jobs properly. Let me talk about like people who's be politicking, people who's be in the police industry. Because I know a lot, we got stories where that we could mention that the actions of police officers or the actions of people who were politicking to gain votes and everything and becoming ministers and then having a ministry, their actions don't necessarily line up with the intention that they say or they come to us
Yeah.
portraying, you know, because
Yes.
yet again, I can't speak on the intention of a police officer. I can't tell if a police officer is a nice person
Right.
because, this person might just be a regular fella, but because of the style that they put forward their job, like, all right, when I become a police officer, I go upon the cap. No, it can't be friendly, it can't be fun, it can't be jovial. I gotta be serious and matter of fact. So when that person interacts with me, all of a sudden, no, I just seeing them as like this figure that so like immovable. I can't talk to them. I trying to talk with them and explain my situation. I guilty with an explanation as I may say, but them ain't trying to hear that. So the action, the intention is to be a public servant, which is what a police officer is, which is what a minister in parliament is. They are all public servants. But then something does get misconstrued along the line where that their actions in the job don't necessarily line up with public servant. If you guys grasping what he's saying, because that just come to my brain for Kita speaking about the intention, like, yeah, when you get a new job, you be hype, you want to do the best job, you want to do the most, you want to get work early, you want to work late, all of that sort of things, and then reality is setting. Well, bum, this thing is just like any other thing. They get me. So I just want to talk about the politics, the way how, for example, you was just talking about the weed situation. The Know that they're trying to take emphasis off of the court system and weight off of the court system by saying, okay, we are no longer dealing with court appearances for persons found with 14 grams and under. But still yet they're gonna come and say that we're giving you a $200 fine along with that. So I feel like in one end again we like a little progress and then like the snatching it. It feel like the intention is to say, okay, we are moving towards a different way of life, but don't feel as if we're moving too fast because I
I
still
see
want
it.
under
I see that.
oppressed
Yeah.
under a
I see
servant
that
mentality.
situation. I see that situation differently though. Like I see it as a first step. I
Uh-huh.
just think that it's a situation where a lot of people may misconstrue the definition of decriminalization as opposed to legalization. Because a lot of people think
Uh-huh.
because this is the my general feedback from what since that has been announced and so on. The general feedback is that why is it attached or why is there a charge? Is that the court want money or is it that because technically marijuana is still illegal. It's just that you're paying you get a ticket and you paying a fine at the time of. But I just think that legalization is more of a situation where it's not deemed as illegal, but decriminalization, it means that there is not I guess a push to try you or take you to court for a situation like that. I think is a good step. I mean, it would impact a lot of people's or a lot of the younger generations records. So you know when you are applying for a job or you are applying to go to the embassy or whatever, they ask you if you ever been to jail or if you ever had any convictions or what. Yeah,
But do you
or we
think
get
that
tried
it's
for
not
something.
like do you think that it's not like they're trying to appease persons because you are saying because this is decriminalization and not that it is
Yeah,
being
and not
legalized.
legalization.
Right.
Correct.
So you know that you have to make sure there's a differentiation between the two. But here you have might what then is the intention of the government and those the policymakers in doing this here? Is it to help us when because as you say to not have a criminal record or whatever? Or is the intention to say, all right, I know what I want, so let me get a little grain of salt or a little grain of sand and you still out to sea. So what is it that we're already? How is it being? Because the action here then is yeah, you're not. It's not gonna be on your record, but you still gotta pay me money for you having. So that $5 bag,
Yeah,
turn
but
it to $5. So then that's where we have to
but
now differentiate what's the intention here.
but think of it. But I think of it in an aspect
I
whereas
think the
look
intention
at
is to
them.
confuse people.
That
But
too, because
my
you
thing
know
is
the
like
difference between legalization and decriminalization.
yeah, but I like the move because it's a situation where a lot of people in jail for small stuff like that. And a lot of people have that on their record. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people in jail for marijuana use and at small amounts. And our taxpayers spending money to feed these people in jail for something small like that. When, like, I think it's like 30% of the population in jail for marijuana related
Yeah.
offenses and so on.
Yeah.
And I
But
think that
then,
I
but
think
then
that we
another
should,
thing too. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead if
No, I
you have
was
a
just,
point
but
to make
another
or you
thing too,
have to
because
rebuttal.
going back to what Chad first talked about when it comes to the police and policing. So now the police say, okay, well, we ain't gonna be locking you up for having the the 5 bag or the 10 bag, the low roach and whatever, but be coming after you. So
You
make
paying a
sure
fine to
that this is the
the
area that you can
president.
have be coming to make sure that you gonna get this ticket. So that we can still get more money. So all of that where it comes from, the intention versus the action. It may be good intentions,
Mm.
but then what actions then will be police be taking going forward? Because they could see that they could very well attack a lot of people when it comes to them and their practices. Now, not and as we are not encouraging people to smoke weed or anything like that. We're just putting the points out there.
I encouraging them to smoke it if it's do something for them. Because as far as I concerned, it's a no judgment zone. But there's my thing. When you doing all of this here, I just trying to figure out, as you said, what's the intention of it. I feel as if it's something that they're just looking to confuse people and also not put burden on the system. But then my question does come even deeper. What about the people who already in prison for these little situations? Shouldn't they be immediately released? Shouldn't they be allowed to go back home to their family? Should they not be allowed to re-enter civilization? That's the thing that's come to me. I don't like the idea of law and order sometimes because there are too many loopholes to these things. If it is that men went prison for weed, it wasn't like a situation like, oh, we getting a shootout and blah blah blah. That's a different story. But you was on a block, you get picked up for the same amount of weed that's now considered okay to have one person. It's just a little fine attached to it, but you're doing 6 years in prison. Oh, sorry, you got 6 more years left. I believe that those people's sentences should become retroactive and they should be released immediately. So this is where confusion is coming because then when that's done, what about other situations that this take place where it has been shown that companies have contravened the law when it was unlawful to do X or Y, but then the law accommodates them and then they still get off. So it's like, you mean to tell me it's gonna always be a classism thing? That's what's blowing my mind about these things because I just feel as if there's no common sense to a lot of the things that the government intends to put forward. It's just a lot of reactionary behavior, and it does not help this community. It does not help this place as an island. And sometimes, even though like tonight I heard the Prime Minister Mia Motley speaking about becoming a republic and being able to make our own decisions. Let me say this. You see the same thing that just get let go, which is the 14 gram situation, yada yada. They proudly state within the document that was released about it that this current law is applied in Jamaica and works. I used to be like, so we always gotta follow pattern, people. We ain't gonna show no ounce of innovation whatsoever when it comes to these things. It is sickening me as a Barbadian. It is very sickening to have supposedly educated people
Yeah.
within a place of power, that you were placed there because we expect that you are quote unquote the best of us. Show us why that we consider you the best. Don't give me laws that are already existing because it works elsewhere. You had to sit down there and wait for that. Like, come on, use the same high, strong education and big words that you scamp on the TV with, and show me why that we elect you. This is not aimed at any one individual or party. I just gotta say that because it will give people the impression, oh, that I may be D or I may be this. I am not. I am just always
But
about
here's the thing, though,
empowering
Chad.
people.
You feel as though the reason or the rationale or the intention of going towards a republic is aimed at having more power within Barbados, or for Bajans that actually have say to do things locally, like to be able to action things
Boy,
locally.
I telling you this, dog. Let me tell you this here, right? I really and truly hope. I know that there's always an element of criminality and everything, because you can't escape it. The world is not built on perfection. But let me tell you this. I am one for the situation where that we as a people control our own action. We don't need to go through another head of state that's outside of Barbados in order to create law or pass legislation that is beneficial for the people as a whole. However, when you get that kind of power, you gotta understand that we still human beings. So who gonna be held accountable for certain things if an individual is elected a president or whatever, and then they're like pretty much unchecked? So that's another facet that needs to come into it. Who are going to be the persons or the body of people who are going to be coming together to ensure that this individual that's elected of presidency or whatever does not deal with corruption? You understand me? That's where we as a
Thank you, man.
Barbadian community now got to look into this whole republic
See,
standpoint.
but that then goes into the discussion then that is needed when it comes to the type of republic and whatever. Before I went there, just wanted to highlight Empress K was making some really good points. She was saying that the loopholes aren't across the board. They come down to those who are in charge and how they feel about the situation. And she also said that some people aren't comfortable leading by example though, because they don't want to be the guinea pig. So they rather see it something worse somewhere else before they put it in, as their to act on their intention. But then going right back into the whole republic discussion, when it comes to the intention here, this is an intention that would have been this is now 20 years, I think, when we had the first referendum about it, and people were very much against it because people were, although the government at that time, which is the same party that's in power now, they were trying to educate people about it and everything, but people were very set in their ways. It was like, well, this is all we know and this is what is working for us. So then when I heard the talk come back up again, I actually heard people then talking about the fact that but why we this any time to be severing ties from England and this and that, saying like big man nobody severing the ties. All is that we saying is that the queen and the body that you gotta swear to, you can actually say take allegiance to your country. So many people reading when they're elected and they have to read their oath, it will not say I pledge allegiance to the queen and her heirs and successors. It does not define that's the only thing, but that is one of the big things. And then when it comes to then the type of republic that we have now, we're gonna have a republic where you have a ceremonial president. So it is still going to be same selection process as when we
Yeah.
have a governor general. It's not going to be any
Governor
different.
General,
No, the
just your
Guyana no,
president.
but the whole
Yeah,
semi-president.
basically, yeah.
Them.
But
So
that's basically what it is. That's basically what it is because though when I said those people, they would be we grandmothers and that sort of thing. They would have been the ones that closer to the for lack of a better term, massa. You know, so
but
it's
as
like
they
they
said
don't
that
like to shake up.
were
They don't like to shake
let's
up
use
that
the right
situation.
term. And
But they
the
don't like.
business
But they don't like
said,
to shake up the thing.
mm-hmm.
They may
They were
want to
using
shake
your
up. The
same
fact of the matter is that they were safe. Be- people that come from oppressive mindsets like safety. They like
mm-hmm.
surety. They like certainty. When it comes to uncertainty, when it comes to those things that gonna make we go figure it out, make we go think, make we go push the envelope,
Yeah.
it gonna make people uncomfortable because it is just,
I
and this
agree.
goes back even to something we spoke about years ago. I mean, not talking about years, but weeks ago, where that we were talking about entrepreneurship. When you become an entrepreneur, you no longer have the safety net of a salary. So you have to push the boundaries past the okay, I could just go work today and
Yeah.
like, or I gotta get up and go work today. You gotta get away from that mentality. So the persons
So,
who would have had the sway back then definitely don't have the sway now because we are more free thinkers. People out here thinking more so now than ever before. So it's only obvious the conversation of a republic state gonna become something that, you know, a lot better, a lot simpler, a lot easier. And yeah, let me actually open this conversation. Let's have it. Let's see if it can benefit us. And I all for it. I all for conversation.
It's true.
original. Well,
Excuse me for a minute, all right, guys.
yeah, it's
Yeah, go
music.
ahead, Janelle. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I agree. It is very unfortunate that we live in I guess I don't want to say backwards, but it's not a progressive
Uh-huh.
society. We don't think of society box. We don't want to there first. We could have been the first country to legalize marijuana, but we were set in our ways and we want to go on the whole boundaries of the church and morals and
Uh-huh.
that sort of thing. So people out there talking about they got a hurricane and bad weather can come and this and that can happen if we legalize gay marriages and legalize marijuana and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. But it's the same people that was so they
Uh-huh.
had the storms and the hurricanes and everything, you know. Many people that in
Mhm.
slavery and transit
Well,
they had
well, you know, uh-huh.
I
I
really
know
don't
how you
want
feel
I
about
don't
that there,
want to talk
dog.
about
And
I don't want
it
to talk
could
about
definitely
slavery.
become, yeah, I know, because it definitely could become a conversation about everything that we already done talk about. Let me keep it moving,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I want to speak on we could touch a situation that's dear to me, very, very dear to me,
All
so
right,
that we
we
could
talk
show a
about
bit
it.
about actions versus intention. All right. So I think one of the reasons why everybody was saying that, you know, both go hand in hand and they're not very distinct or they're not very separate. But I partially disagree with that because let me give you an example. Remember, I am in the life of a preteen. Well, not preteen, she's a teenager, but a young teenager. Let me say so. I am in the life of a young teenager. She's 14 years old. So whenever we speak, I am speaking from a place of like worldly experience because I would have gone through 14 already, 17 already, 21 already, so on and so forth. So I know some of what the world offers. And because I have that experience, my intention is to protect her from all external sources that that do not have no good intention for my little one. With that being said, when my daughter listens to me speak and she hears me saying what I'm saying, you know, all she's hearing is no, or that daddy don't want me to do this, or daddy doesn't want me involved in that, because it doesn't match up with what she wants. But you know, the thing about intention, the intention is that I am here to protect you. I am here to ensure you're safe transitioning through adolescence into adulthood or have a semblance of normalcy. Let me say so. And but because of immaturity, emotional immaturity and mental immaturity, she's just going to see me as the dictator that says no. And I could give you a real good example. There was a point in time she asked me to go to a party. And I was like, okay, no issue. Tell me about the party, who's going to be there, what time it is, etc. She told me it was gonna be a nighttime party. I said, oh, and who are gonna be the adults that will be there to ensure or make sure everything going on right and everything is right and whatever. Because obviously nighttime, in my opinion, is for adults, grown adults.
Yeah.
So ultimately, to make a long story short, I was not hearing what I wanted to hear, and everything that went through my mind is the fact that my daughter out there being preyed upon, older men, etc., etc. Because obviously, the care that I got, them ain't gonna got. Them ain't give a shit. Once that she looks a certain way and looks like she could pass for a certain age, some don't even care about the age. They're doing whatever they want to do. So I am saving her from a poor decision, but she will not see it that way. So even though my intentions are good, because sometimes of mental immaturity, emotional immaturity, or the inability to see where somebody is coming from, you could see them as an aggressor or as
Yeah.
somebody who's keeping you back. So that's the reason why
Agreed.
that I was saying that intention and actions are separate and distinct.
But you'll be surprised that that action or the actions that you are taking, she might not appreciate no, but she might appreciate down the lane because it might not look good right now.
And that's my
But
point. That's my point.
at the actual end of it all, the intention is a good intention, and you it's something
Mhm.
that you can probably. I know life coach or a doctor, but I think that she need to understand or you need to embrace to her that this is for your betterment, and this is the reason behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because it's a situation where like we all were young and
Mhm.
we always stay when our parents told us, we can't go somewhere. So you know what she is
Yeah,
going
of
through
course.
and what she feels like.
Of course.
Is there something that you can do differently from the situation when you experienced your parents when you wanted to go when you was younger than what she is going through right now? Because she's young, she's gonna want to go. When you was young, I don't want to go, and I remember parents telling me, "No, I just feel like shit." Like truth, I did feel
Uh-huh.
horrible. I never felt like I used to go enough when I was younger, but I used to feel horrible. But when I get older to this age, which your daughter will
Uh-huh.
get there in time, she will understand you. There was a reason why parents didn't let me go. These people was well. These people was savage.
Mhm.
They probably if don't work it, you know. I can go and show my face to friends and have a little
Mhm.
party and whatnot, and boom, just like that, same bad could happen or it could go left. And you don't know these things till it's later down the line. So you don't really get to appreciate these
Yeah.
things till you're older. So 10 years from now, your daughter, or 15 years from now, your daughter be telling you, "Oh, Dad, I appreciate that you didn't let me go to this party, blah blah blah." I think she might have been
Mhm.
pissed. She might think that this is all bad intentions. She don't want me having the fun, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective
Yeah, man.
which
Definitely.
kind of I think yeah, welcome back, but it's kind of
Thank
it's all about to me like it even take back into like relationships, which is where the one start off, but we start all around the world. But all right, for instance, I don't know how it is for you, but as a man, right, and you start a relationship with a female, and this is like the Beijing relationship where you all go and meet your girl parents because they kind of that era, you understand? I
That's a
know
big
these young kids
relationship.
nowadays. Yeah, well, I didn't know it was a
Okay.
big relationship. I come in an era where I go and meet your parents and that sort of thing and talk to your parents. And so the first question that a girl father is always asking, man, right, is what are your intentions with my daughter, right? And you get a lot. I've done that, and you could tell him what your intentions are, but at the end of the day, it's your actions that are going to prove exactly what your intentions. So, is the validation of your intentions is all about your actions. So you can tell him, man, I intend to be a good boyfriend to your daughter and treat you right and that sort of thing. But if your actions are not seeing it, talk is cheap. You understand? It go back to what Charles said at the beginning. Talk is cheap. Like it's all about actions. And to me, the difference between intentions and actions is one is talk. To me, one is just talk and cannot be verified, and actions are the actual
Action.
verification of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the same thing goes then
And
with because I was listening to Chad's story with his daughter and thing, and then looking at relationships, and it also goes with yourself, where we would have started, the intentions that we made for ourselves, including the same thing with the like losing weight or whatever, getting healthy mentally, physically, however it is. But we have good intentions for ourselves. I don't think there's anybody who is walking around telling themselves. I mean, well, yeah, we do feed ourselves some really negative talk, but we do try, and those are good intentions, but then we don't put the actions, we don't put the talk with the walk, or we don't put the walk with the talk. So we be trying, which is all the intention, and then what actions are we taking? What is it that you're doing? You're just stuck, but sometimes in the case of your daughter, with her, me lacking the maturity and stuff like that to really understand where you would have been coming from. I think that happens with us. Not that we're lacking maturity, but we don't know how to put our thoughts and our intentions into action. You
yeah,
know you're ready, you want to lose the weight or whatever. You gotta exercise. You gotta eat well. But then, how do I get it processed when I'm fighting the other parts of me? I'm fighting the fact that I every time I exercise, my back hurting me, my knee hurting, or what have and then but they ain't making a sense here. Or I fighting the whole thing with some people have eating disorders and don't even know that what they're facing is an eating disorder. So they got with that too. So that
also
when we're
also
trying to
financial
transition,
situations where food may be expensive. Healthy food is
so
very
true,
expensive. That's
exactly.
also another situation.
The good things to eat are very pricey. So then what is happening then between the intention and the action is really
But you
that
need
some
well.
people just don't know how to make these steps and don't have all that is necessary to help them make those steps.
It's discipline, man. It's all about discipline. It's all about discipline because it's easy to say I intend to do, but I am doing is totally different situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what would money? What would the intent? When somebody borrow money from you and then the ducking you,
All come to
and
me.
you wanna have any situations like that, and like, all
Yeah.
right. So I looking for
Yeah.
like if you had any situations where the body in reach out to you within the specific time, but then you still get back the money at some later date, because I do know
Yeah.
some people have had situations like me where you would have lent money, you're supposed to get it back within 2 weeks or so, and then it's still the situation is never resolved. But
Mhm.
I never had the one where you got money borrowed from you. It was missing for a bit, and then you eventually got paid back. So
Right
so
back.
share that experience, and because obviously that person's intention would have been different, even though that a little communication could have solved an issue. Maybe they didn't
Yeah.
reach out to you and tell you, well, yeah, Keith, I'm running a little bit late on the money, whatever the case may be, but you still get back your money. So talk to me about that this a little bit. Help me, because I don't know that viewpoint. I only know the other one.
Well, to be honest, like lending someone money is a risk in itself because
Hmm.
your whole energy of lending money is your trust of the person to repay you, right? And
Yeah.
the person probably intend to pay you back. If you don't know what's happening through a personal life, people have got things going on. People tell you everything that's got going on. People can tell you that, well, I lost my job. I was living in Lane at NAS. Things wrong. I had a flat
Hmm.
player. You know what I mean? Like, people can say that, but we might just be judging someone. This buddy and bring it back by a certain day. I got everybody right off. But if the person, to me, if the person really care about giving you your money back, they can make an impact and give you a call or to reach out to you and say, look, I ain't exactly got the money for you at this particular date. I can get to you by next week. I gotta let you do that. But it's a thin line though when it comes to this sort of thing though, Chad. Like true. It's a very thin line
Uh-huh.
because a whole friendship or a whole relationship could be destroyed with a person if if you don't do something by a set time. But as you said, communication is a major part of that because somebody might be telling you that, and then in
Hmm.
2 weeks, in a week time, no, they can tell you again. I ain't getting money, I ain't getting any money, I can't another week. And then it keeps on and on. I see that situation with people so many times.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that that is a the person comes to you with all good intentions, man, I need to borrow some money because I got this particular bill to pay and it's short right now and I can pay you back when they get paid and then things happen. But you can't exactly foresee what is gonna happen in the future from that moment like person lending you the money, like you lend the person the money. So
Um.
Right.
Yeah. My. Oh, sorry, Keita. I'm sorry you didn't finish.
I finished.
Oh yeah, I was saying my experiences with that. I mean, it's two things really I have learned from that. I've learned because I remember I was 16 years old and I lent a guy some money. We were all working together, and I mean, I already couldn't afford to lend him, but he came with his sad story, and I was like, all right, no problem.
That's where they may start.
I'm gonna tell you,
They may start
I'm glad I learned that early
pulling
because these sad
your
stories is
heartstrings
just
with that
be
shit, boy. Look.
stories. Yeah, I got full lending the money, and I remember we coming work all the time. And man started dodging me. I know we working in the same place. There's only so much you could do. You can start working here too. I got a lot of run around the web and tell myself I done it ever lending somebody no money again. But then I went through life and I realized that, sometimes it's really good to be there for others in some form or fashion. It may not always be monetary, but sometimes the money just is needed. And I've had people lend money to me or give me money. But what I learned though from the people who would lend or give is that when you lend some person money, you lend it knowing that the possibility is you're not going to get it back. So you keep it in that route. So you say, well, if you know that you could lose that $100, well, then you're lending money. If you know that you could afford to not have the 10 grand, you can lend that body the money. I actually had a
People learn
friend.
at the hard way. People learn
I
at the
was like,
hard way.
somebody to lend me 10 grand. No. But I had a
They get
friend
you
though.
done.
She had a good friend of hers. She lent her money, telling the friend she had her stipulations, everything. The friend knew that her birthday was coming up. She needed the money. She had the money earmarked for something. She didn't need it in the time that she lent the money to the person the month before, but she needed it by this particular time. And she still didn't get the money on time. And then my friend has to be calling her all the time, like what remember. And just as y'all said, just break up good friendships and things when you do something like that, having good intentions and any person take advantage of you because that person gave for the run around and they were close. So yes, we do all have good intentions, but we do things for people and people don't acknowledge that. They don't care. But anytime I lend them money though is that I know that I given it to you. But I still want it back. So is the Indian giver? Well, I guess.
Right, that's my money is moving at 50 cents. I want my money and I can make me off my money back. If you don't send me back any money, we'll miss that debt. People joke around, but money in there joke around with. And that's just my perception of money, like when because sometimes they don't even be about the money, it's about the principle. Because you say you give me this story at that time and it was important to you at that time. Show me your catalog. Show me what is important to you. Show me how you handle important situations. So sometimes most of the time that sometimes most of the time, all the time that'd be my perception of money. And then money to people already in my past and it wasn't a large sum of money. And that's about like $100 and I do it back by any month come the month end. I get my money. Second day of the month, where my money is. Third day of the month, where my money. Fourth day of the month, what happened? You're ducking me, what happened?
You don't play boy, Collie. Why you feel so annoyed?
Yeah, because
Is he ready to fight, yo? Then so I think is he ready to fight,
no,
bro?
but my thing is like with that sort of thing, right? With that energy, right? That buddy would know we're going to say, well, I borrowed money from this buddy. He gonna solve her, or she gonna solve her. Man, he will lend me money again, but it's not that I won't lend the person money again after that. But I want to see what's important to you. Like, if the value, you don't value any money, the whole I value any money. So why should I lend you money? People they go, I would like to get money. People they go, I would like to get money.
Child, you lending people money or not? What were the
Me?
payment options they hit you here asking people about payment plan?
No, we were talking about that was a side conversation. I was just mentioning the candles for the culture that I was mentioning the candles for the culture that if you is only if she was saying that basically talking about lending the money if you know that you can afford to lose it based on if the body don't pay you back. And I
Right.
said, or if you could break legs without the consequences, right? So then she
You
was
see
saying
gifts
that
coming
she
though?
can't get it done. Yeah, that's what you laughing at. And she said
Oh,
that she can't do it because she can't break the legs. So he tells she is a part time everything. So let me talk about payment options. Cause I mean I just an entrepreneur myself, so I grind it wherever I could get in, I can fit in. You know what I mean? But Gabe says sometimes it's about the money and the principal. Cause the principal from my primary school teach for all these school. Look, look, the man is saying that was a joke here. Oh Christ. The man is saying that was for real.
but
But
baby,
but
my family said that she don't let no, she don't want borrow money from nobody. She could be on her last, but she don't want borrow the money.
I could be on my last soda
Right.
base and I don't think I
That's
will
fine.
ask to borrow
I
money.
get
I can ask.
I hear to borrow money from people and that's
But
true. I hear to
you know
borrow
what
money
that's
from
come down
banks. I
to?
hear to borrow
You know
money
what
from
that's come down to though?
people.
If you got people that close enough around you that watch what's going on with you and they take a pride in recognizing their friends and how their friends set up, you will be able to recognize if somebody is lacking.
Or
Because yes, nobody ain't
Mm.
walking about talking about, man, I got a lot for money for my daughter this or my son that. Blah. Everybody don't do that. They got some quiet sufferers, myself included. But if you have people around you that interact with you on a however they interact with you basis, they could figure out whether or not everything is okay with you or if it's not okay with you. And if they can't afford it, they suggest, well, hey, I recognize whatever if I give you because everybody is not going to be as easy to say, so what you want to ask me to borrow the $100 or saying so called everybody ain't built like that. So you see
right.
this here, so it's all
Correct.
intention and action and thing again. No, because like they got people out there that are really givers. They will give the last. They will give you the last, but then when it comes to the reverse, no, they
Yeah.
can't put it over in the way that you might have. So sometimes we gotta be a little more aware of our surroundings, and that
But
includes the people in our lives.
people is also be bitten, they say once bitten, twice shy. So I mean,
Yeah,
the person might have good intentions, you as a friend, but because they've been, affected in the past by somebody that may have worked from them before and never paid them back or getting them bullshit talk when they try to get back the money. It might have been tough to return that sentiment and lending money again in the future. So that was also a situation where that I guess the intention might be good, but the action is just a little different.
Yeah.
hmm
But that look like somebody I would lend people money, man. If they would borrow money, if they would borrow money from Janelle, man. Janelle, you look like sorry people that
yeah.
would lend
Janelle,
money.
I love
Janelle is
it.
a
But
year ahead now.
people,
Listen, Janelle's a year
Yeah,
ahead now.
yeah,
We ain't paying
yeah.
for them haircuts tomorrow.
I
We ain't
think
gonna
it's
paying
right.
for them haircuts
The man,
tomorrow. I just put
the
it
man
from
don't even
national
get that
to
much more money than nobody. I
we.
mean, it's
We
just
are
the
not paying
nature
for
of
our
cycle.
haircuts tomorrow.
You
Tita,
grow
you hear me
around
right?
though. I will not turn up.
Tita, you
But
hear
I
me
will
right?
tell you this, right? I have had people around
Charlie, I missed this
me. I do
last
not
comment.
have to. What? I have had
Charlie,
people around me who I did not have to complain to or whatever who realized how much I would have been struggling. I had a really hard time a few years ago, and people offered and loaned, and I would never forget. There are people out there. There are as is a support system, and your support system doesn't have to be 20 enough people. It could be just a few really good ones, as I would have alluded to, who would say that it have
Yeah.
that you
I
have that would be there to support in some form or fashion. But
hmm
there are people like me who do look like if I will give you my last, I will give you my last, but no, I'm sorry, I wouldn't give you my last. I can give you what I can. I will help you how I can because
hmm
it's not easy, but I would try to always have good intentions with people and then good actions following through. So we're coming on to the end, guys. What are your
Okay.
final
Right.
thoughts
So let me
on
start. Yeah,
action
let me start wrapping up.
versus intention?
You want to go first, Keith, or you want me to start it? Because I can.
There you go. There you go.
All right, cool. So always remember, people, intention and action, they can be separate and distinct. They definitely go hand in hand because one is intangible and one is tangible. All right. But we need to remember that our expectations come and play a very big role within that diaspora. Because what we gotta recognize is that expectations can and always will differ from person to person. So
Facts.
both of us, both people involved within the intention and action dynamic, depending on who is the intenter and who is the action person, blah blah blah. We need to be mindful of the fact that this person could have a proper intention, but the action ain't really the best. So we need to ask questions to find out, were your intentions good? Hopefully they will be able to communicate it. I don't know, but just always remember that it is unfair and unrealistic to expect you from other people. So when the situation is reversed, you might be able to do a great combination of intention and action, but the godson might lag on the iron, but the good, or they might got not the best intentions and the actions also in much use. So try to exercise a little patience. I know exercise was last week, but that word still feels sweet. And this is what you can say for the end too.
Well,
How to ensure that your intentions can be supported by the actions. You gotta remember, you gotta set attainable goals. Keita said that earlier. Set attainable goals, because if you try to get like a girlfriend and you got it out there so that you gonna be cashy, changing every weekend, that's foolishness. You gotta set attainable goals unless you got a bank account like Bruce Wayne. What?
Yeah,
What
keep
happened there, Justin?
what was your
Yeah,
final?
can go. So I don't know if you want cash there, cause that shop, but I understand what you're saying. If you want cash to a nice
Right.
restaurant,
Oh yeah,
don't no
yeah,
matter
yeah.
what the
Right. Well,
restaurant
I was
here is,
I
you
just
gotta
wasn't
be
sure
able
what
to.
happened there, Justin. We thought we had a break and thing there. So as I said, set attainable goals,
Nah,
make
this
sure
shop
good
can
communication
take
is a
something.
part of it, and you got people that can make you keep accountable to
Facts.
things. So be confident a portion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kita, where you
Well,
last?
I don't want to go too far. I don't want to go too far because the time is limited. I agree with Charlie.
Yeah.
Want to echo his sentiments. Janelle, you can go ahead. I can just wrap up this now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I get ready to wrap up, man, because I hear so saying that I didn't even introduce my people. At the beginning, I was so excited to get started, but so I had good
Yeah, no
intentions.
problem. I
I was
will.
like, yeah, let me get the ball rolling, and then it wasn't actionable in all of my
I
intentions,
just
right?
but your options. So you see that force? It's all about the intentions. It's all about the options. The options are really validating intentions. But at this time, I want to big up the sponsors at this time. So I want to big up Sibel. I want to big up Trevor and Tony Star Repair. I want to big up LaRosse Media Production. I want to big up Barely Sober. If forget anybody, of course. If forget any trading cuts, big up trading cuts, Bobby
And
Studio
we
every
forget
time.
somebody, huh? Me first, cha, you know, people forget you, so
Big up me first. Me
Oh
first.
yeah, yeah.
Child,
Me
you ain't
first,
forget you.
man.
Big up me first.
My bad when I forget about me. That coming there so on stream just now. We got definitely big up Trevor at Tony's mobile test service as well. Looking
Yeah,
forward to that
for sure.
to that documented situation. I don't really want to let out too much, but maximum thanks to them for saving me last week. I had a very bad situation and them get me ready, snip snip. So remember Trevor and Tony's mobile test service. Yeah, cool.